Hello everyone. So you'll notice this photo from yesterday's video, and that just goes to show that I do not post my videos in the order that I create them. So my initial thought for this particular layout was that I would use this photo, but I don't, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. I'm starting with some purple tape and I'm taping my paper to my media mat board. This is a piece of heavyweight fluid watercolor paper, and I'm going to play with my catalyst tool today. So my layout started with the desire to create a background that matched the new rose gold sequin mix from Spiegel Mom Scraps. This was the mix she released for her National Scrapbook Day. And I want some pink, so I'm going to mix my red imposter paint with the white imposter paint, and I'm going to get this deep, deep dark pink, which is a little bit darker than what I initially want, but that's okay, because if you watched my video on Monday about using this catalyst tool, wedge tool, the important thing here is layers, lots of layers, and we are going to get lots of layers on this page. So right about now is where I decide that I want to go ahead and kind of tape off a strip and just put the paint almost like a border down the side of my page. That's my goal. And my crooked eye means that I'm going to make this tape strip crooked, but it's okay. It'll be fine in the end. You won't even notice. So I'm just going to continue on here. So I have this bright kind of pink bubblegum layer. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a layer of white. That was the unopened tube of imposter paint. I need to grab another one. And again, we're going to get all of this because the pink's going to die back a little bit, but we're going to put more on top of it. You can see me kind of moving the catalyst tool around to get a little bit of texture, a little bit of something different going on in the paint. And you can see here how you're scraping it on and scraping it off and moving it around until you like what you have. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to play with some different types of paint on our background. So this is still Prima paint. It's still acrylic paint, but this is the Metallique copper paint, which you've seen me use before because I think it's the coolest paint ever. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on top of this as well. Now on this paper it's going to look a little bit brown and it's not going to look necessarily very pleasing, but that's okay because we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some Opal Magic paint on top of it. So this is Opal Magic paint. This is Rose and Aqua. So it's going to look a little bit rosy and a little bit gold, rose gold, and it looks so cool. I'm not exactly sure that it videoed as beautiful as it looks, but in person, this background, it has a little bit of texture and it's got some of the little bit of the aqua when you kind of open it up. So it's really pretty. Next, I'm going to use my Crystal Katana and my Nuvo adhesive, and you can see how I created these little starbursts. Now, if you remember from my last video, this stuff dries. Like, it dries super duper quick. So that paint, those layers of paint on that background, it's dry already. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just putting a little bit of that Nuvo down to create a starburst pattern, and then I'm dropping those rose gold sequins into the adhesive. And I'm going to end up with two starbursts, one on the bottom left and one at the top right, made with these rose gold sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps. So I have cleaned off my area and I just set my background aside for the Nuvo glue to dry. And now I want to use this as my background paper around the whole outside of my background. And I'm gonna gut it. And the way I'm gonna get it is I'm going to use this cut-a-line guide from My Sweet Petunia. That's the same company that makes the Misty. And the reason why I'm using that cut-a-line guide is because I have a guillotine trimmer. So I have found this tool to be really, really helpful and useful for when you do want to gut your papers, and you kind of get the best of both worlds. So I get my exact cutting and from my guillotine and the self-sharpening blade and all those good things, and then I have this cool ruler that allows me to gut paper when I want to. So beside that little piece of mixed media border that I created, I'm going to put this super wide washi tape. And you can see that I have also changed out my photo. I'm going to go with this photo of my son and I. I'm also using this kind of rose gold coppery washi. I'm just going to make, so I'm kind of making my own pattern paper or background because I want to use the new One Canoe 2 Saturday Afternoon 6x8 pad, and I don't have any 12x12 sheets of paper, but I know what colors I want to use, so it'll be okay. And if you're wondering, the whole reason I gutted that piece of paper, the pink paper for my background, is because it is an older Webster's Pages paper that I adore, and I didn't want to use it all on one layout. So you can see here, I am going to be using all of these beautiful floral arrangements that are in the Saturday Afternoon collection. I'm going to use that giant die cut paper up on the top right as a cluster, and then I'm going to go ahead and use, I'm going to fussy cut and use more of the flowers for the bottom. I'm just adding I believe I add 2 layers of this Scotch adhesive to give it a really nice bump up, but I may have only used one, I don't remember. Like I said, I created a whole bunch of layouts and a whole bunch of backgrounds all in like one mad scrapping session. So, and now that I'm like separating them out and doing the voiceovers, I find myself getting just a little bit confused between the layouts. Sorry. That might happen. That might continue to happen for the rest of May because my weeks have become super busy. My oldest son is graduating. If you watch my channel, often you know that he has autism, and so this is like huge. But it's also super stressful because he kind of likes to wind down at the end of the school year, and this school year he has to keep going because he needs to graduate. So I just have found my life to be super busy, and so scrapbooking has become create 10 layouts all at once and record them all and then figure out where they go. But anyway, I'm going to use a lot of cut-apart sheet, a lot of the cut-aparts, and I cannot stress enough how much I love this layout for one very big reason. If you like new releases and you like to have all the new releases, but you have a limited budget, I truly believe that in the collections you want to work with, you really just need a 6x8 paper pad and a pack of die cuts. And the rest you can usually find in your stash, or you can do what I did here, which is to use up your washi stash, maybe a new mixed media technique to create a background. So this is a 6x8 paper, and I am very simply fussy cutting all of the little bits and pieces of the flowers, and I'm going to create my own border. And this is a little tedious to watch, so I didn't record or make you watch me do all of it. But I wanted you to get the idea that this is just a 6x8 paper pad that I'm using. And I'm just cutting up all this one background with all the flowers and one of the cut-apart sheets to create my layout. So I'm sticking everything down now. I'm going to put just a little bit of journaling and the date on this little label from the die cut sheet. Just a little bit of journaling, and then I'm going to stamp the date. It's really not much at all. It's more of a caption to the photo and less of actual journaling. Now I'm going to go through with my pop dots, and I'm going to create a couple of areas that are kind of popped up. And as I turn this, you can really get the idea of what this background and the opal magic paints and the layers of paint look like. You definitely still see all of those layers. You still see that bubblegum pink I started out with. You see the copper. You see the iridescent opal magic that is a little bit pink and then a little bit aqua. And so I was really, really happy with that background. And I love how those starbursts came out. They just added something to it. The last little bit on this layout that I'm going to do is I pulled out those sequins again, and I'm just adding the really light ones. I kind of started adding them all, but then changed my mind and decided that really I wanted the light ones because I want the sequins to be in other parts of the layout, but I didn't want it to detract from either my photo or that main part on the edge. And that's going to complete this layout. So really very just fun layout. I had so much fun making this. It was so cool. I have been just loving scraping paint onto heavyweight watercolor paper. It's kind of just become my favorite thing on the planet to do. It's super fun. It's kind of messy, but not super messy. So anyway, I hope that if you were able to grab these beautiful sequins from Speedy Mom Scraps shop, that you find some inspiration to use them on this page with my page. And you can always use my code for 15% off your next purchase at the store. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!